Welcome back guys, and for the next tutorial we're going to be looking at the anti-roll bars. For this tutorial we're going to be using the 2003 Dodge Viper SRT10. This is because this car's got a 50-50 weight split, and we're going to see how changing the anti-roll bar settings for the front and rear will have different effects on how the car handles around the corner. For the first part of this tutorial we're going to go to the first corner of Maple Valley, and we're going to set the front anti-roll bars to the minimum setting and the rear anti-roll bars to the maximum setting. I'm going to take the first corner, put the telemetry up. This time we're looking at the friction tab on the tyres, just so you get an idea of what's going on. So we're going to be accelerating down to the first corner and braking as we enter, and then we're back on the gas. You can see with maximum anti-roll bars in the rear, the car is trying to step out at the rear end. Without correcting, we would end up spinning round. You can see it's close there. So for the next part, we're going to put the front anti-roll bars all the way up to 40 and the rear anti-roll bars all the way down to 1. We'll run exactly the same test again, and this time we're going to see what happens. So accelerating down to the first corner as before. Braking, turning in, back on the power. And from the friction tab you can see that the front tyres are losing traction, and from that we're getting understeer and going off on the outside of the corner. So the basics of the anti-roll bars are, if you want more understeer then you want to stiffen the front anti-roll bar, less understeer then you soften the front anti-roll bar. And likewise with the rear, if you want more oversteer you stiffen the rear anti-roll bar, and if you want less oversteer you soften the rear anti-roll bar. So as well as looking at how the anti-roll bars affect how the car corners, whether it understeers or oversteers, the anti-roll bars also have an effect on how the car handles through S's and during transitional phases like left to right corners. The ideal example of this is the S's on Road Atlanta, which is where we're going to go next. And we've just had a look at what happens when you have the anti-roll bars at different levels, like the front one's low and the rear one's high, or vice versa. We're going to have a look at now what happens if you have both anti-roll bars too low or both anti-roll bars too high. So here we are at Road Atlanta, and you can see on the left hand side we've got a car set up with maximum anti-roll bars, and the car on the right is set up with minimum anti-roll bars. So we're just going to go down the straight now, head up towards the S's, and you'll be able to see how the car handles differently depending on what sort of settings you've got for the anti-roll bars. So heading up the hill, just going to get into the SE section, and you'll be able to see that the car on the left is more responsive but is more likely to be twitchy through the corners, while the car on the right is less responsive, it can feel mushy but will also be less twitchy. So the higher up you've got the anti-roll bars, the better the car will be able to take left to right corners, and the lower down the longer it will take the weight to transfer from left to right, making the car feel slower to respond. For tuning the anti-roll bars for high-speed corners, such as the first turn at Sunset or the Kink at Road America, then if you're finding that you're having to lift as you're going around the corner, the one thing you want to have a look at is increasing both anti-roll bar settings up slightly. This will help the car corner a little bit better. And that pretty much brings my quick anti-roll bar tutorial and tips to an end. As always guys, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it, or subscribe to my channel. You can also check out my new Facebook page, which I'll put a link in the description. Appreciate it if you could just head over there and give it a like. I'll be posting more videos on there as well as on here. So until next time guys, thanks a lot.